Hi, my name is Lori Hammerstrom, also known as Hammer Online. I will be presenting the stages of change. Have you ever tried to make a New Year's resolution? It's hard to make a lasting change, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. Here are the 3 key questions to look at when attempting to make a change. What makes people ready to change their behavior? How do people make a lasting change? Why is changing behavior difficult? It can feel like you're climbing up an endless set of stairs with no destination in sight. A little background on this theory. The stages of change theory was developed in the 1980s by psychologists Prochaska, Norcross, and DiClemente. They originally were looking at research on quitting smoking, looking at those 3 questions we just mentioned. What made some people successful at quitting? How did people get ready? What made some people able to stay quit while others continued to stop and start and stop and start? From that, they developed this theory that people go through fairly predictable stages. It isn't a linear process, but rather a circular process, which we will look at in a bit. It's been widely applied to a variety of significant behavior changes, things that profoundly affect the way a person views their life and even sometimes their identity. Substance abuse and other behavior type addictions, medications and treatments for mental and physical illness such as diabetes or a person with high cholesterol, even heart attack survivors and such, as well as diet and exercise. A visual model of the stages of change. It shows that people can move back and forth in either direction from one stage to the next. They might go from the action stage backwards to preparation or forwards to maintenance. Relapse is an event outside the change cycle, but still is part of the stages, and there's also an exit. The stages of change have been called a process model. Some people give the stages different names, and some even have a different number of stages. But for the purposes of this presentation, we will be using a 6-stage model. The person first identifies that there's a problem that they might want to change. Then they begin to change behaviors to address that problem. Then they learn to live without that problem. We will be talking about the stages of change in a linear fashion, but in real life, more often than not, it's not linear. It tends to be a circular or spiral path. Once again, movement is possible in either direction. People can change both into and out of a variety of behaviors and identities by choice, or by accident, or natural aging out of a behavior. It can be helpful to recognize that, for example, you might be thinking of going through the process of stopping smoking, but remember, there was a time when you went through behavior changes to learn to start smoking. Here's an example of aging out of a behavior. It is a more natural change process. It can go on kind of under the radar. The complexity of change is key to keep in mind. Ambivalence is a hallmark of change. It can remain throughout all the stages, but it's strongest at the beginning. It can come from both external and internal pressures, both to change and to stay the same. External pressures might be what someone else wants for the person, family, friends, or even the courts. Internal are pressures the person puts on their own self. One of the keys is to strengthen internal pressures to change and to recognize what external pressures are helpful to the change process and what external pressures are getting in the way and may need to be eliminated from the person's daily routine. People can be in different stages for a variety of behavioral issues at once. Someone might be in maintenance regarding alcohol, but in the action stage regarding cigarettes. They might be in contemplation regarding gambling, and at the same time in pre-contemplation regarding jogging. Smart Recovery's 4 points and tools are all based on the stages of change model. We welcome people in all stages of change, including those who are unsure if they want or need to change. The tools and techniques of Smart Recovery are stage-specific. Involvement in the Smart Recovery program supports an individual's movement through this change process. This diagram shows how Smart Recovery program fits into the stages of change pretty neatly. In the first oval, the pre-contemplation stage, we help them to enhance self-awareness. Point 1, building and enhancing motivation, relates to contemplation and preparation. Point 2, coping with urges, helps someone dramatically when they get into the action stage. Point 3, problem solving and better managing thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, lends directly to the maintenance stage. Point 4, moving toward the exit stage, fits into the lifestyle balance. Managing relapse. Smart Recovery teaches how to learn from a relapse. How's this for denial? Pre-contemplation. I don't have a problem. In pre-contemplation, the person is not even thinking about changing. They don't recognize they have a problem or are discouraged about their ability to change. During this stage, Smart Recovery would discourage labeling and judgment. Consider a use log as homework if they are interested, which will heighten self-awareness. Question the rationale and cost benefits of fatalism. This cartoon highlights how scary the process of change can be for so many people. In the contemplation stage, the person recognizes there is a problem, but they're not ready to take action, thinking a lot about it. There tends to be a lot of ambivalence, anger, frustration about the whole thing. They're weighing the pros and cons of change. Smart Recovery's approach, we can help them get through this by normalizing the ambivalence, validating their feelings, emphasizing free choice. They get to choose if they want to change or not. Cost-benefit analysis, or CBA, this exercise helps them to get it down in black and white so that they can look at the whole hot mess with a bit of clarity. And here we are shopping for change. I need a change. Normally I just wear the faint odor of vague discomfort and unhappiness. During preparation, the person acknowledges that there's a problem and they are determined to do something soon. Smart Recovery's approach for helping a person in preparation is to do change plan worksheet. Suggest that they set a quit date and use brainstorming to explore options. Smart Recovery supports whatever works for the individual. They might want to go to detox, they might do a treatment program, they might go to therapy, they might use medications, they might use another program. Whatever works for you, works for us. And now we arrive at the action stage. During this stage, the person is taking steps toward change. During the action stage, there's quite a bit of experimenting. It is filled with trial and error, and commonly the person will experience relapse. A lot of focus and energy is put into changing behavior during this stage. We can help to encourage folks to attend meetings as frequently as they feel comfortable. Doing lots of homework and self-study. We don't have sponsors, but peer support can be found within the meeting framework, as well as online on the message boards and in the chat rooms. Tools that fit this stage are urge coping tools, rehearsal, and refusal skills. Maintenance. Sometimes it's difficult for family and friends to get used to the change that someone is making. During maintenance, the person is beginning to feel more comfortable with the new behavior and their new identity. Less time and energy is needed to sustain the change. Relapse is still possible, but less likely. This stage starts around 6 months into the change and lasts for 5 years. Smart Recovery teaches that people should continue to attend meetings as long as it's helpful. This stage is a good opportunity to begin to learn how to manage thoughts, feelings, and emotions in a healthy way. It takes practice to begin to integrate these newly learned tools. During this stage, a person may find themselves with a lot of time on their hands where they used to drink, and then they spent that time focused on their recovery. So long-range goal setting and lifestyle balance come into play here. We do encourage people in this stage to consider volunteering to enhance their own recovery, as well as to give back to the organization to help sustain and grow Smart Recovery. And here we are seeing how our little fishy friend finally found freedom. In the exit stage, change has become the new normal. It's unlikely that the person will revert back to the problem behavior, and it takes minimal effort to sustain the new behavior. It has now become integrated with the person's identity. During this stage, Smart Recovery encourages the individual to align their values and goals with their behaviors, and that it is possible to be recovered rather than living forever in recovery. Here is Santa experiencing relapse. He can stay on track for 364 days straight, and then he goes on a binge of milk and cookies. Relapse can be any return to the old behavior. It is any event that interrupts the change process. A person who has relapsed may enter the change process at any point. Smart Recovery's approach is to see this as a learning opportunity by using the ABCs. It can show you what adjustments are needed. And most of all, we want to help them avoid the trap of the abstinence violation effect, which is taking on the belief that I blew it again, I can't do this, I might as well go all the way. How does the stages of change help a facilitator? Well, first, it can help to choose tools and exercises that are stage specific. It can also be used as a tool to help members make sense of their own process of change. Success is defined by moving ahead to the next stage, and if a person relapses, you can use the stages of change model to help the person re-enter the change process as soon as possible. The readiness ruler exercise can help a person determine their change score. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to make the change? How confident are you in your ability to change? How motivated are you to try changing? Thank you for listening. Please try to have fun with the stages of change. It can be a freeing exercise to recognize that your struggles are typical of what others go through when they try to change any behavior. Love your tools. Use them daily. Be smart.